Hey everyone, it's Damnation. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that has pissed off a few people on Instagram, which I thought was freaking hilarious because clearly they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's that Ovechkin is not a great player. He's a good player at best. They bring up, what's funny is they brought up all of his trophies that he's won and all this and blah, 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 goals. And, that's all great, but he's not a great player. He's a good player. All right. And I don't know why I'm making this, but, these Instagram clowns are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been watching hockey since I was 5. I've played hockey. I'm a Minnesotan, for those of you who don't know. So I live basically hockey. My daughter plays one of my daughters plays hockey. My son played a little bit of hockey, so I know hockey. I know what I'm talking about. I call him Ovet choking. Choking as in chokes every time. By that I mean he's choked in the Stanley Cup since he's been in he's choked in the Stanley Cup. He's choked in the Olympics. He's choked in Worlds. Not prior to, I haven't seen him in his junior stuff, but I know, his, in the Olympics and, all that stuff, the stuff that I've watched, he's never been, that he's always just kind of disappeared in those major games, especially in the Stanley Cup up until 2018, when they didn't make it prior to that, when they got Oshie and a couple other players that got into that team, and they were talking about, since they got Oshie and they were choking before that. I was like, yeah, they didn't choke, they just didn't make it. There's a difference, all right? Because they're saying, Ovechkin, because I say Ovechkin disappears in playoffs and stuff like that, which he does. Yeah, he makes goals and assists, but he's nowhere offensively. He, like I said, he just disappears. Scores a goal every once in a while. Ooh, big deal, right? Yeah, he's just not that great of a player. One, he's dirty, all right? He is one of the dirtiest players in the league. So when you got nothing but a shot to a scoring shot or whatever, you play dirty. He picked up a lot of dirty habits. He high hits. So last year I went to the game, and so he hit Jared Spurgeon in the corner. And okay, I'm 5'7", right? Jared Spurgeon's shorter than me. I know it's on his thing, it says 5'7", 5'8", but he's actually shorter than me, without skates. So he's 5'5", or something, at least 5'5", maybe 5'6". I'm not sure, but he is shorter than I am without skates on, right? Skates, he's probably is my height, maybe because on skates I'm 5'9". Because adds 2 inches on yourself, but so he's shorter than I am, right? He's a little guy. He is. I met him. He's an awesome guy, by the way. So in that hit, he high hitted him with an elbow to the head of Jared Spurgeon. No call, right? And that's not the first time he's hit like that. And he hits from behind, cross-checking. He boards a lot. He does a lot of dirty play in the offensive zone. I get it, it's hockey, but, when the league is trying to get away from those kind of hits, and he's still doing them, that says a lot about him. And it's not the first time he's done that in the few years, in the past several years. He's done a lot of dirty hits. So he is an extremely dirty player. All right, nobody steps up to him, and if you've noticed, he doesn't do that he does that more in the East than he does in the West, because the West has bigger players than him, and that he knows that can kick his ass. So that's why he kind of, doesn't do that as much in the West as he does it in the East. He does it a lot in the East. I've watched him do a lot of. He's extremely more dirty because there's not a lot of bigger players. Like Toronto has Reeves now. He'll probably get stay away from that. But he does that a lot to a lot of like talented players and stuff like that. And you know, like I said, when he hit that, when he went to hit Jared Spurgeon, hit him from behind, and he literally lifted his elbow and like cracked him in the back of the head. Jared Spurgeon, I'm sure it's on there. It's Wild Capitals. He hits him in the corner with a high elbow, basically head hitting him, which, yeah, isn't good. You know, goals wise, yeah, I get it. But when he came into the league got rid of two-line passing. So if you don't know what two-line passing is, that's why I drew the lice board is, because there's other things. Two-line passing, I'm gonna use purple. I'll use green. Is blue line to blue line passing, right? You can't see that. Nice black. It's blue line to blue line passing. Blue line to blue line passing, right? That's two-line passing because you're passing over the two lines, or, you know, over here to over here. It's crossing the two lines over to the other side. So when he started out, and I've watched him all the years, he would sit on the blue line, right? He'd just kind of hover around the blue line, and it's cherry picking. That's what he would do, and he did that a lot. He doesn't really have in neutral zone playability. He has no really abilities to do that. All right, so that's when he was younger and stuff like that. So as he got older, he would sit. So this is offensive. He'd sit in this circle. That's where he would sit. Yeah, so he would sit in the corner. He wouldn't sit over here. He'd sit over here. So a lot of his goals would come in on blocker side. That's where a lot of his goals come from, his blocker side. If you ever watch him, that's where he'll stand, like sit and stay. So now the reason why is he's also the captain, right? So if you watch him, he has no defensive capability unless he has to play. I think he's like really weak on defense. Offense, he's actually decent in offense, but if you watch him, he'll sit in that circle. He won't leave it unless the puck goes over here into the boards and stuff like that, and then, you know, he will. Same game where he elbowed Jared Spurgeon, Oshie was in the box, right? So on a 5-on-5, Oshie was still in box. Oshie's like their playmaker and stuff like that. If you watch Ovechkin, he'll play. He had to play both sides of the rink, and he was just flat-footed, just not good. I mean, he looked out of shape, and all that shit too. He was like not good looking, or, you know, he was slow, and, you know, he just sat there. It was shameful. He's supposed to be a captain, and he's dragging ass up and down the ice and onto the bench. Like he's the last off, or he's first on. So like if the line changes, he gets off the bench right away, or he'll drag his ass and just kind of slowly make his way to the bench. That game like showed like how dead weight he is to the Washington Capitals, right? So that's why he's not a great player. And he's a captain too, right? You're supposed to be that person who grinds and shows your team that you're there. And he's done that almost all throughout his career, especially as of late. And then you got all these Jack Moes on there calling me like, oh, I'm a clown because I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, it's just... But like I said, if they brought back two-line passing or kept two-line passing, Ovechkin wouldn't be the player he is, right? He would, well, of course, he'd be sitting on the red line instead of the blue line. But like I said, if they brought back if they would have kept two-line passing, and it would have gone away eventually, he wouldn't be the player he is. He wouldn't have the goals. You know, he might have more assists. He would have to work on his neutral zone capability. Part of the reason why they got rid of two-line passing is because of the defensive or neutral zone block. The Minnesota Wild were really good at that with Jacques Lemaire and stuff like that. But as soon as they got rid of it, it stopped being such a useful tool. But yeah, I stand by what I say. You know, he's not a great player. He's a good player at best. You know, if you watch player, like when he gets shut down in this circle all the time, like when they play two on him, like when they D up on him, like with two players D up on him, he can't do anything. He has no offensive capability except for sitting in a circle and like shooting whatever. And it's gotten worse since I don't think Nicholas Backstrom is on that team anymore. But Nicholas Backstrom was a key asset for a lot of Ovechkin's goals because Nicholas Backstrom would pass to him. You know what I mean? He'd throw passes to him and know where he is just to hit him for the scoring and stuff like that. So, you know, that when they got him, that changed Ovechkin's play style where he just kind of sits more. You know, and like I said, now if you watch him, he drags ass. Like I said, I watch a lot of hockey. I don't just watch the Minnesota Wild, even though it's my main team. I watch a lot of hockey. I watch, a lot of, that's just what I do. I get, that's that's just how I do it. Yeah, I just watch a lot of hockey. So I know what I see on the ice when I watch. I can see, like, these people are like, that bring up his trophies, his colanders, this and that, and all, he's got 9 this and 9 that. Like, well, you're not watching hockey then. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just looking at his trophies and you're just like, oh, he's the greatest player. It's like, are you watching him? Do you watch hockey at all? Do you? Like, seriously. Like, I know you're not supposed to argue on the internet, but still, it's like these people are sitting here saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. When I sit there and watch him and seen him play live, he's not a good player. As of late, as he's like, I'm 38, so he's my age. 30, what is he? Yeah, he'd be about my age. No, he wouldn't be. He's 2 years younger than I am. So he's 30, so he's like 36. Or 36 or something like that. And he's like I said, when I watched him live twice, or several times, and as he's getting older, he was overweight. He looked overweight, looked fat. I mean, I'm not a skinny guy, but, for a hockey player, he's just dragging ass now. And if you watch the Capitals, they don't even play him 5-on-5. That he rarely gets ice time except for when it's power play. That's all he's good for now, is to make up that, to be in, and then on the power play, he'll sit there. He won't help offensively. He'll literally just sit in that circle. I mean, he'll move his legs and stuff like that if he has to, but he'll literally just sit in that circle, and that's all he will do. And that doesn't help their offense at all. You know what I mean? To looking for those one-timers and stuff like that. And people are saying he's the greatest hockey player. He's going to beat Wayne Gretzky's thing. I mean, Wayne Gretzky's, like, Wayne Gretzky's the greatest player of all time. Ovechkin will never be a great player. He will always be a good player or a decent player or whatever. He'll never be a great player, especially with his work ethic and stuff on the ice. So that's why he's not a great player. He's dirty, really dirty. His work ethic on the ice is shit. It's always been shit since he's been playing where he's been playing. And, it's like I said, he's always choked in major games like playoffs and like Olympics and stuff like that. And the only time, he wasn't even a big part of the reason why they won the cup, really, in my eyes. Because like I said, he kind of just disappears. I mean, yeah, he scores goals. So what? You know what I mean? Players are supposed to score goals and score goals to win the game, right? That doesn't mean anything when you're a terrible player. I mean, he's not a terrible player. He's a good player. But, when you're a shitty person on the ice, that doesn't... I mean, he's actually Off the ice, he's a different person, but on the ice, he's just a terrible player and like a terrible person on the ice. He doesn't play. And I hate people who hype him up so much. You know what I mean? It's like in soccer, you know, you got the Messi fanboys and the Ronaldo fanboys, you know, who's the GOAT? You know what I mean? It's like, Ovechkin isn't the GOAT, you know, and then somebody brought up Crosby and Malkin. I'm like, that's a different comparison. That's a completely different team. You know what I mean? You can't compare the two. Can't compare Crosby and Ovechkin. Their play styles are different. If you actually watch them, Crosby actually works harder on the ice than Ovechkin does. Ovechkin's like a lame duck out there. So I thought that was a bad comparison because they're two different players. They have different play styles. Two different teams that have two different play styles. The Capitals have relied a long time too much on Ovechkin, and it's dragged the team down quite a bit over since they've got him. You know, it's like, oh, they won a cup though. It's like, big deal. He wasn't a major part of that. There's other players on that team that helped win those games to get them there. And they were playing Vegas too at the time. They had Fleury, which, you know, as we know, Fleury's not the greatest goalie, especially since the Eastern teams know Fleury and they've played a lot against Fleury, so they know his tendencies, know where to shoot, know where to trip up Fleury and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's just like there's factors in that game and in that cup that they won that helped them win the cup. You know. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like Ovechkin fanboys need to realize that he's not God's gift to hockey. You know what I mean? He isn't the greatest player ever. You know what I mean? His record doesn't mean anything with what I'm talking about. All right? I take the record out of the thing. All right? And that's what these people on Instagram and the post that I posted on are bringing up. His record, his goal scoring. You know, how many goals he has, how many this, how many assists, how many this, blah, 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 right? I'm not talking about that. All right? You freaking idiots. Learn hockey. Learn to watch hockey. Watch hockey. You take the record out, and what is he? He's a mediocre player at best. All right? His work ethic, and like I said, it's not about your record. It's about how you play on the ice. That makes you either a good player or a great player or a decent player or whatever, right? He's a mediocre player. If you change things, or like I said, if he gets shut down, he can't play for shit. He can't, you know, maneuver his body. You know, it's just, come on, people, fucking think. I'm calling these people out on the Instagram that I was arguing with. All right, especially telling me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. One dude even called me a lib, whatever the fuck that means. Like, I mean, I know it means liberal, but I'm not even fucking liberal. I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. I'm a fucking person. I'm an individual. I don't conform to that kind of stuff. I'm actually an anarchist, if you believe in it. And I mean a true anarchist. You know, where I don't believe any of that stuff. Where I'm against that kind of stuff. So it's like you're a fucking idiot. It just pisses me off that these people, and then one even said, like, oh, nice troll account. I'm like, I'm not a fucking troll account. I don't know. It's just really fucking annoying watching Ovechkin's fanboys suck him off so much. He just sucks his dick. Just trying to get his fucking cum. That's what they're doing. These fanboys suck him off so hard. It's like, I'm surprised Ovechkin has enough to fucking the luck to have kids. You know what I mean? Like watch hockey, and you will understand, and you'll see. If you don't see, if you have rose-colored glasses on the whole time, you're not gonna see how bad of a actual player he is on the ice. I don't know. That's why I'm making this video, to rant about it. Why I think he's not a good player, or not a great player. He's a subpar, mediocre player. Take away his trophies, take away everything, let him play on the ice. Like, just, he's not a great player. He's a dirty player is what he is. So, that's my video. You know, let's have a civil conversation. You mean, I'm not going to reply back to a lot of things. If you get heated, call me names. I will most likely delete the comments. Only because, like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to, like, deal with that crap. Like I said, I'm making this video in response to those dumbasses on Instagram. But, yeah, this has been Damnation. Thanks for watching.